So, good evening if you're joining us on YouTube, and just saying hello to everyone who's joining with us on Zoom too. So, this is the second rehearsal on Foray Requiem. Last week we looked at the first three movements. My intention for this evening is that we'll look at the final three movements of the Foray, and we're not going to look at the fourth movement because, of course, we don't sing in that one in the PAEZU. So that's my intention for this evening. Then next week we'll likely then cover some corners from the whole work as we look towards either next week or the following week, having a sing through of the whole work. But I'll have a conflab with Simon about that before we get there. As I mentioned, as I mentioned previously, I'll share the music on the screen for those who would like to view it there. If you've not got a copy, a hard copy at home, don't worry. Be able to see it on the screen. However, the version I've managed to find a PDF to share with you is a different addition to the one you're either holding in your hands or indeed that we'll be performing with. And as I mentioned last week, the edition, there's some word underlay and some other notes from this edition, the Rutter OUP, which I know Simon's referring to, and certainly using with the orchestra and the soloist. So I'm sure there'll be some notes along the way. I've tried to catch those few moments and have marked them in. I think most of them were in the first three movements actually, but we'll nonetheless watch out for those along the way, and I'm sure Simon will let us know as we approach them. Excellent. Well, hopefully you can all hear me okay, and with a bit of luck hear the piano too. So let's get ourselves warmed up. First of all, I'd just like to think about being tall and imagining the sound coming from your midriff and coming up, and it's like there's like an umbrella above your head, really. There's the kind of sound blooms up here, and we're aiming for. So to begin with, we're just going to have a very delicate, gentle hum up and down a fifth. So simply. We're going to sing my favourite pattern, which simply goes. Good. So the ooh, no doubt over the last few weeks I've mentioned this before, but the ooh, I'd like to think about getting the sound from the midriff. And we're thinking about bringing the sound forward in that lovely round, warm ooh shape. Ooh. The E, we're going to take the sound from the middle and take it sideways. So think about the breadth of sound on the E. E. Rather than it being a narrow E, but E. And then the R, taking the sound from the midriff and taking it up over the back and over the top of the head. Ah. So there's lots of space in all those. So ooh, e, ah. And feel free to do that with your hands at the same time. There's something really wonderful about physicalizing our singing. We don't, clearly we don't get to do that often in performance. So let's make the most of it in our warm-up, shall we? So let's go through the pattern of those three. Because we go around the pattern, just make sure we're not guiding the pitch with our nose. So there's no, let's do it. None of the nodding going on as the pitch is going up and down. It's all the notes just laid out before you. Going to go back down a semitone. This time I'd like to sing staccato on the way up, legato on the way down. Good, and just to finish off our warm-up today, just on the siren sounds of the NG at the end of sing, just like to say sing, and just go around your range a couple of times. Sing. When you're doing that, you should feel no pressure on the larynx at all. It's a lovely, relaxed way of warming the voice up and indeed freeing up the larynx too. So, as I said, we're going to look at the final three movements of the foray. And so I'm going to work backwards through those three. So we're going to start with In Paradisum, then we'll look at Liberame, and then we'll finish with the Agnus Dei. So let me share the music on the screen for you. Sorry, bear with me one moment while I just put that on. Okay, there we are. Right. Let's have a sing through together from the start of this movement, and then I'm going to we'll spend a few moments having a look over some of the sections of this. But to start with, let's have a sing through from beginning to end. Here we go. Okay, lovely, thank you. Simon, I meant to double check with you. The Latin here, are we leaning towards Italianate Latin throughout?
Yes, please.
Excellent. Goodo. So Italianate Latin throughout the whole work. Let's just have a look. Just jumping here to bar 21. Where tenors and bass have this split moment. And I just like to think about the supportive nature of this. It's marked pianissimo, but really you're the support for the sopranos all through here. And I've used the word journey quite a lot in the last couple of weeks, and again, just to reiterate that. Is to always bear in mind that Fauré, writing at the time he was writing, and throughout his life, really, that his music became, and I use this word carefully, simple in the most beautiful of terms, that the melodic ideas and the harmonic ideas were very carefully placed. And so as we sing this, we just need to really be aware of actually the journeying that we go on with the dynamics, and that really leads a lot of the melody, melodic writing. So you'll notice here tenors and basses that we start at bar 21 as pianissimo, and the crescendo is marked at bar 23, and then over 2 bars taking us up to forte. And then immediately back down again. Figure what's marked on the screen is figure C bar 27. It's 3 Ps. So there's quite a journey going on throughout all of that. So first tenors, yeah. Second tenors, yeah. Basses, yeah. Let's have just tenors and basses together. 1, 2. Of course, that lovely moment with the lovely bright C sharp for first tenors in bar 27. Yeah, it'd be so tempting to let the dynamics go in the other way. Here's this wonderful, lovely harmonic shift, but actually it's made all the more beautiful by being delicate and really coming away there, which tenors adds to your technical challenge here. As we diminuendo away and with a rising semitone, if we're not careful as that becomes lighter, that C sharp's not going to be as beautifully placed as it might. So really think big step and lots of support going on throughout there. And similarly for altos and your entry going into bar 27. Nice full semitone. Salem. And final thought here for everybody: if you've got the quaver, make sure that's full length. That is, there's no hint of that becoming a semi-quaver. Really, they allow the space for the vowel to sound. The vowel's always the important part of our singing. Sopranos. Let's have a look at your your first entry at bar 3. In paradisum. Just like to imagine, as you're singing this, it's almost like you're an oboist. There's that lovely purity and clarity of sound that just sails along through, and there's just this seamless flow of sound. So let's sing that together. In paradisum deducant angeli into adventum suscipiant dem adires. Good, and now you'll have noticed that I've just put a little question mark next to the breath at that point. And that was a question mark. I just wanted to double check with Simon if Mays whether you would like that breath there, Simon.
Please.
Excellent. Okay, good. On the recording that we're singing with, you'll hear the 16 go through there, but it's the 16. Lovely. Let's go together from the very beginning. Let's put all of those sections that we've looked at so far into context. Just a note, just a word on this final phrase and the very long M at the end. it'd be quite natural to be running out of breath towards the end of this long held note. And just an encouragement to, if that is the case, to breathe early. And by that I mean to avoid that point of which where you feel the breath is starting to run out. If you're getting to that point, you've probably left it a bit too late, and we can hear particularly this beautiful 3 Ps, so super soft here. Particularly at this moment, if we're not really looking after the quality of our tone, and by that looking after our breath, then that can affect the shape and colour of this. So Requiem, and then before you run out of breath, so we never get into that shaky moment of trying to squeeze out the last drops of breath. Good. Simon, anything you want to say about this?
I think the tempo's just right. I always think that those quavers, particularly in the soprano part that come at the end of a bar, you need to begin to sing them as early as you dare, because they're always slightly sooner than you think and longer than you think.
Yeah, and we have that. We have that with everyone, don't we? About bar 54.
Yes.
Habeas. So right. Really wants to be good and early, doesn't it?
It does, and long.
Yeah. Excellent. Let's try that final phrase together then, shall we? So aiming for really ensuring that we're singing a full quaver there. And by that, if we think at this point here in this text, you've got a voiced B sound and then the vowel. So actually there's quite a lot to get into a short space of time. So we want to allow space for the voice to sound. Let's just see if I can find where this is at. So, head 1 and. The final thought, just on this this same section, is if you can see in the accompaniment and here, these semi-quavers just ticking along all the time through. Now I'm sure you'll be blessed with wonderful accompaniment, but we don't want to take liberties with our orchestra and organist and asking them to watch out for any moments we might be pulling the tempo around. And stylistically, that's not where we want to be at all here. So, so just singing these lovely long held notes. Always have in the back of your mind the semi-quavers ticking along. That we don't want to get in the way of those at all. It's going to be bang on the main pulse with each of our movement. Let's just sing that same section once more. Join in from this point, so this is going into 45. Okay, lovely, excellent. In which case, folks, let's have a look together at Liberame, please. Sorry, it's flashing before your eyes. Let's find the start. In a time-honoured fashion, let's have a sing through it together first, and then I'll look at some moments along the way. So we can all enjoy Roderick Williams at the very beginning here. Sorry about computer froze. Okay, thank you very much. Well, let's start with this wonderful unison moment at bar 92 in the score as it appears in front of you. I don't seem to remember you don't have bar numbers, do you? Figure F in one score. I'm sure you know where I mean. Liberame Domine, where we all sing that moment together. It's marked here piano and dolce, so soft and sweet. But this isn't a kind of saccharine sweet, is it? This is a kind of luxurious dark chocolate. Okay, so there's no hint of no hint of synthetic sweetness here. This is all good quality richness. Liberame Domine demor. And what a wonderful moment on morte for this word painting, really, to be able to use that M to shape the sense of the text there. Let's just sing that together. So, leave one. Liberame Domine de morte eterna in die illa tremenda in die illa. Now, before we go any further, two things to mention. As you have the octave jump to the upper D, the dynamic marking hasn't changed here. In die la. It's so much more delicious if we resist the urge to be our own Roddy Williams at that point. But really rein it in and enjoy the depth of sound we can have while singing piano. And our crescendo diminuendo that's marked here in 104 and 105 India Ila. The crescendo, I'd think less about the increase in dynamics, but again thinking about the breadth of the sound. India Ila. So we're kind of holding the sound to begin with and stretch it out and bring it back in again. So we think in those directions, I think that'll really help with that. And the second thing to mention here is you can see really clearly annotated by the hairpins that they're both equal or almost symmetrical in the mirror image of one another in terms of the spread and the growth, and then the way it's closing again. And I think with our the way in which we sing this, it's lovely to aim for that symmetry in the diminuendo, mirroring the crescendo that went before it, which is tremendously difficult to do because invariably we often sing crescendo beautifully and equal, and then we come to the diminuendo and it jumps down and then comes away. But if we can try and keep that diminuendo even throughout, that'd be really really beautiful. Let's just sing from what's marked on the screen as figure J in Die. And one. In die illa tremenda, in die illa, quando cieli movendi sunt, quando cieli movendi sunt, et terra. Now here we can really grow. Enjoy that crescendo as it goes through there, and if you need to sneak a breath somewhere, you can do that between in the middle of a word is a useful place to do that, in the middle of a bar. But really let the crescendo grow. Notice the forte is marked here on the top D, but there's no diminuendo marked. Terra. So we want to sustain through whilst being aware of the phrase, the natural phrase. Then your fortissimo moment. Tum veneris. Again, let's not shortchange our quavers. Keep those good full length quavers. Judicare sempre. So that's really talking about your fortissimo here. So we keep that, sustain our dynamic all the way through. Seculum peinem. Right to the end of the phrase. And then we can hand over. So with all those things in mind, let's sing that. Let's see if I can find it on the recording. So it's 84, 85. Two before. One. Okay, lovely. So let's stop there a moment. I'm going to trust the very end is all good with you. So I'm going back now. So it's marked più mosso, and 6/4. What's marked on the screen in front of you at bar 53. Dies illa. Actually, before I just mentioned this, just worth noting, just going into as we transition into that. Simon, would you mind just clarifying if you're doing the tempo pick up the previous bar, or on the upbeat? Because I know it's often done a number of ways, isn't it?
Actually, I think I'm doing it on the bar itself, not on the upbeat.
Fine, lovely. And so the triplet going into that,
yes,
that in the new tempo or the previous tempo?
Between the two.
Okay, fine, lovely. Okay.
But if it goes in too quickly, there's always the risk that some singers and players will be late.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So
lovely.
I tend to play for tactfulness there.
Excellent. Great. I just wanted to check with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I've just lost my mouse. Here it is. Right. So with that in mind, you'll hear D, S, E, La. And then as the chord builds from this point on, let's just have a look at the tenors and basses only, please. So 1, 2. D, S, E, La, D, S, E, Re, Ca, La, Da, Di, Sex, Z, E. Okay. The same phrase for sopranos and altos. So soprano, alto, 1 and 2. Okay, thank you. As we move from the from that moment of bar 61, your next chord. So altos, you're the important factor here. So the tenors are moving down to the G, but that's as a whole, what we hear is the tenor's D moving up to the what then becomes the alto's E flat, changing that chord quite dramatically, considering it's only a semitone move. So altos, your role there as you drop that major third down is an important one. Et miseria T-S-E. Just be careful with the placement there. Sopranos and altos, let's read on from what's marked on the screen in front of you as figure E. Soprano, alto, 1 and 2. Okay. Good. Let's sing this this moment with the recording. I'm sorry, move them in front of you. We'll just see where this is. Okay. One bar. Good, I'm sorry to stop you before we go into full flow. Excellent, good. Simon, any final thoughts before I...
No, I think not. I think those speeds are just spot on.
Lovely. Great. Excellent. Good news. So, finally, for our time together this evening, we're going to have a look at the Agnus Dei. Sorry, is it whizzes in front of you? Okay. So let's have a sing through together, then I'll have a look at over some corners. Okay, lovely. So, let's go right back to the very beginning. Tenors. Here at bar 7, so to think about your vowel shapes and to really ensure that they're beautiful, open Italian vowels. For example, qui tollis. No kind of closed British O about it. To. Peccata. Open R throughout there. Let's sing that together then, tennis, shall we? So, Agnus Dei, and 1. Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccata mundi. Okay. And similar, that we carry on with those lovely open vowels. Dona eis, requiem. Figure B, as it's marked in the score at bar 19. You got your Paul Hollywood kneading bread type moment. Diaram. So the weight really leaning in through the first vowel. Agnus. Da-dam. So kind of use the weight of that part of the hand. There, the pad of the hand. And it pulls away to the D. Again, let's enjoy the journey that we're taking on with the crescendo taking us up from piano. Notice that really building to bar 22. I say really building to 22, but have in mind really that the diminuendo is marked at the bar 23. So it's almost like the thought of the phrase is a longer peak. So perhaps really it's the rest is where the forte is almost. Does that make sense? So the thought of that crescendo is a longer thought. Again, dropping down to piano and build. Okay, so I'm just jumping ahead a little bit here. I'm just aware of time. At bar 45, this magical moment. The Nimrod moment. Lux. As we're singing through here, even though we've got these lovely open vowels and very little movement, I want you to be thinking about the movement that's underneath. This wonderful flow in the accompaniment. That's kind of the driving force, really, for how we sing this section. So it has a real good sense of movement and direction about it. Let's just pick up that moment if I can find it. Here we go. 1, 2, soprano. Keep the full phrase in mind. Think about where we're headed to. So during all of this section, I mentioned that I don't know if you could hear me whilst we were singing. To have the sense of the full phrase amongst, so we've got this lovely ticking away movement. So we kind of got the short picture in mind, but also the long picture. That these phrases really good and long. Lux eterna luce ateis domine. Okay, so what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bar. And then similarly, cum sanctis tuis in aeternum quia pius es. So that's where we're aiming for, all in that kind of big arc of a picture. And if we can hold those phrases together, with the bubbling away underneath of the quavers, it will give it a great sense of musicality to it, which of course is what we're always aiming for. Wonderful. Simon, anything to add?
Yes, I'd like to thank you very much, and everybody else very much too. And might I suggest that, in accordance with our usual arrangements at this time of the year, we probably won't meet next week or the week after, but we'd start again after Easter, Matt, if that's all right with you, on the 13th of April.
Very good.
Would that be okay?
Sounds like a good plan to me.
You might even get to see your family on a Tuesday evening.
Excellent.
But that will be very helpful. Is that all right with all the choir members? Thank you very much. Well, it's been a wonderful evening.
That's great. Well, thank you, Simon, and I think that's great actually. With having a couple of weeks break, that gives us just enough time to do our own revision and
Yes.
And to have forgotten a couple of corners, which we'll then be able to revisit.
Lovely.
Come together. So that's great.
Thank you, everybody, much.
Thank you. Before everybody goes, can I put out a plea on behalf of Carol? She thanks those people who've already replied to her with your requirements for music for our hoped for next season, but there are still 26 people who haven't replied as yet. And if you're one of them, she would dearly like to hear from you. And okay, and just one other thing, Simon, we'd all like to be a fly on the wall when you and John Dumford go out for your meal together. A number of members having read John's article in the Yorkshire Post, have been in touch to say.
Yes, it's very. He rang me up on Saturday morning.
Forewarn you.
Yes.
No, that was lovely. Lovely. Thanks, Matt. It's
lovely.
It's been really, really good.
Inspirational.
Lots of people have said to me how much they've enjoyed it and really appreciate your direction. It's been really good. Thank you.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good news. And Emily, I'm sorry, I've only just seen that you posted a question on the chat, which is a very good question, which I'm sorry I missed, which I'll answer briefly. What does Italian Latin mean? Which is to say, so all our vowels aiming for that Italian e, a, o, u, open, rather than sometimes with For Requiem, choirs might sing it as a Latin as a French choir might sing it. With a French accent, if you like, similar way that you might sing. I'm just trying to think. German Latin with kve, rather than que, for example. So it's all to do with the kind of your accent, really. But yeah, so we'll stick with the kind of nice open Italian vowels when we come back together in 3 weeks tonight.
3 weeks tonight.
Together again.
Yeah. And thank you one and all for joining in. It's been really good that so many of us have given it support.
It has.
Good.
Yeah, it's always lovely seeing all your faces on a Tuesday night. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you after the Easter break.
Indeed. Thank you.
Take care now.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.